I now call this meeting of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Student Senate to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I want to begin our Student Senate meeting taking place on Thursday, January 26, 2023, with a land acknowledgement. We recognize that Kansas State University, as the first land-grant institution, stands on the ancestral lands of the Kaw people. Our state of Kansas is home to 4 federally recognized Native nations: the Iowa, Kickapoo, Prairie Band Potawatomi, and Sac and Fox. We must remember that the land serving as the foundation for this institution was, and still is, stolen land acquired by white settlers. We pledge our commitment to creating decolonized spaces at the university while advocating for the support and future success of Indigenous faculty, staff, and students at K-State. And with that, Speaker Pro Tem Pineda Gomez will take it away with our first roll call.
Thanks, Evan, and good evening, everyone. Anderson. Here. Bannister. Here. Barron. Here. Bellamy. Here. Blood. Here. Broughton. Here. Brown. Here. Carey. Compton. Here. Coy. Here. DePaz. Here. Dole. Here. Hoffman. Here. Hubnig. Here. Kamen. Here. Kappelman. Here. Kirshen.
Here.
Kidd. Kermer. Kenzie. Labidi. Long. Middaugh. Morello. Murphy. Noretti. Oury. Pelton. Phillips. Pilchard. Pondillo. Sayat Carly. Sayat Nick. Salmon. Shear. Schweier. Spindler. Stout. Strout. Taubert. Timon. Thomas. Vogelmore. And Wolf. All right, thanks, folks.
Awesome, thanks everybody. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into our first open period of the evening, and first one of the semester, and we have Athletics Director Gene Taylor here to speak with us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. Always good to see you guys. Well, I'd say welcome back, but I know you guys have been back for a couple of weeks now. So I just want to always appreciate coming over and giving you a quick update of athletics and let you ask a few questions. So I'll try to roll through the update rather quickly, and feel free to ask me any questions you'd like. Obviously, the fall was tremendous from a sports perspective. The fact that we were able to win a Big 12 championship is very difficult to do, and had a great season. Our fan turnout was tremendous. Our student turnout was tremendous. It's probably the best. Our student attendance has gone back up. We'd had quite a period of time where we were dropping in student attendance, but it went back up this year, so that's always great to see. Fan support, we were sold out for all 7 football games. You know, in the Big 12 championship, the viewers watching that was a little over 9 million. It was the most watched conference championship game of the season. And our bowl game, we had a little over 5.5 million viewers watch that game. And it was the highest watched bowl game other than the 2 semifinal games in the CFP playoffs. So it tells you a little bit about our fan base, the interest in K-State, and that kind of exposure not only helps our athletic program, but certainly helps our university as well. And Eyes On, they talk about Kansas State, and they talk about who we are as a department and the university, and that certainly helps in a lot of different ways. Again, our attendance was up, and we appreciate you as students that continue to come out and support us. Basketball has started, and obviously, if you would have asked me if I'd have thought we were where we are in men's basketball right now, I'd probably tell you that I was the biggest liar in the whole world because I did not see this coming. I felt very confident about Coach Tang's ability to build a basketball team. When I visited with him in July, he had 7 players on the team. And I asked him, I said, "Are you getting nervous? Because I'm getting real nervous." And he said, "No, Gene." He said, "We'll get the guys," but he said, "We're going to get dudes. We're going to get the right dudes." And he's certainly been able to do that. And the fact that we are where we are is a real testament to him and those coaches, and in particular those players that came to K-State. I think he had 9 new players, 9 players, 7 transfers, and some freshmen. And just the way they've been playing has been phenomenal to watch. A lot of fun. And again, student attendance has been tremendous. Great turnout. I think we had a majority of the students for the KU game well before the game even started. A lot of energy that night. And then certainly the women's basketball program without Yoki we're just a different basketball team. We have to play differently. She will be back next year, but very proud of how they're competing because they have to compete differently. And I think we'll be fine in women's basketball. We may still be able to knock off some wins here and put ourselves in a position to maybe qualify for the tournament. But next year's team is going to be really, really good just because of Yoki gets back. And I also want to thank you guys again, believing in Coach Tang and his ability to change the culture and change the chant. I don't know, obviously at KU it rained down again, but at Texas Tech it was one of the coolest things when we played Sandstorm and you all, the student body, chanted KSU. I literally turned around to my staff and high-fived them because since I've been here, we've been working to get rid of that for particularly schools not named KU. And I'd like to ultimately get rid of it for KU. And then the other night, it was interesting, the Iowa State game, their students chanted that about us. And it made me remember how bad that sounds and how cool it sounds that we're moving away from that. So somebody asked me the other day, are we going to continue to play Sandstorm? And I said, well, not every game because we're not necessary that we need it every game. But every chance we get, if we'll continue to chant KSU, you're going to hear Sandstorm at key points in the game. And that's, again, a credit to you and your leaders. I spoke to the Chimes group the other night. And you have to understand the impact you do have as leaders of this institution, as students, and your ability to stop that from happening and talking about it in the various groups you represent or the various friends you hang out with, it's a big deal to move away from that. It's really, really important to Coach Tang and our athletes because they want to get rid of it. And as I think he said, you're letting KU live in our heads rent-free by always bringing them up. And so thank you for your leadership on that, and let's keep that going. From a facility standpoint, if you've obviously been over to our facilities, got the new indoor, it's finally finished. We get full ownership or full occupancy of that here in the next couple of days. A lot of changes over there from the parking perspective. I believe the new student tailgate area worked out pretty well. Haven't had a lot of negative feedback, but I'm certainly willing to hear that from us or from my staff at some point. And we always, every year, try to tweak that and see if we can continue to make that experience better. I think from a traffic flow, believe it or not, it was better on that side of the stadium for football season anyway. So, and then the volleyball venue will be finished here in June. We have a new volleyball coach. He's really excited. He and the staff have been through it. The women went through it today, and I have not seen any video out yet, but I know they're pretty excited to get in that facility. We have about a 3,500-seat venue for volleyball and the brand new Olympic training center for all of our Olympic sports. The weight room there will be as big as our football weight room. And all 3 of those projects, when you look at the south end zone that we opened up a year ago, and then these 2 projects, all total, those are about $140 million in facility projects. We raised about $99 million of that, and all on our donors that support us very well. After that, we'll take our current indoor, the old indoor stands behind Bramlage, and we'll turn that into an indoor track. We'll start that project here very shortly. That's about a $10 million project. We'll put a bank track in there, redo the lights and the HVAC, so then your track programs will have their outdoor and their indoor right next to each other. Obviously, we will be moving out of Ahern here very shortly at the end of this season, and that facility will change greatly, obviously, from what it has been. So we'll need to get that track started. And speaking of funding, just real quickly, for those of you that don't remember or don't know, our athletic program is 100% self-funded. We do not get student fees. We don't get institutional dollars. We don't get state dollars. And we don't get any tuition discounts. So we pay full tuition, full fees, room, board, and books. And all total, when you add up our scholarships and the amount of money that we provide back to the institution for various support services, we're about a $19 million revenue back to the university. And we're very proud of that. We're very proud of the fact that we do not take institutional dollars or student fees. Our budget's one of the smallest in the Big 12, but we've been able to manage our budget every year and not lose any money. We did lose money one year during COVID, but we've worked our way out of that deficit and continue to try to grow our revenue. And then finally, just from the national perspective and the Big 12 perspective, obviously we have a new commissioner, Brett Yormark. He's actually going to be on campus for the Texas game. He's a very different thinker. He comes from a different background than college athletics. He comes from the NBA world and the production. He's in the music production world, and he's a very different thinker than what we've had in the past. Bob Bowlesby was a tremendous commissioner, but Brett's coming in with really new, fresh ideas. And so stay tuned. I think you're going to see a different image and feel about the Big 12. And when we have our new members come in, we'll probably redo some branding and some marketing, and we may look a little different than what we have in the past. So stay tuned for that. But Brett has really brought in some fresh ideas. In terms of expansion in the Big 12, we haven't had a lot of conversation about that lately. I think we're just more focused on our current membership and figuring out what we're going to do with Texas and Oklahoma. Right now, they're scheduled to be here for the 23-24 and 24-25 season. If any of you read anything about the sporting world or whatever's going on with the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma have made noise about trying to get out a year early. That's above my pay grade. It's more about Commissioner Yormark and him managing that, so stay tuned on that one as well. But hopefully we'll get that thing figured out. But in terms of expansion right now, it's not been a big high priority for our commissioner as it stands today. The new TV deal we announced over the summer, or actually just a couple months ago, I guess, come think about it. It all runs together. But it's really going to be good for us. At one point, when Texas and Oklahoma left, we were looking at, they were predicting a 50% reduction in TV revenue. That would be a significant hit to all the remaining members. But Brett's come in, done a phenomenal job. The 4 new members have been very attractive to our TV partners. We're with Fox and ESPN. And our TV revenue will actually increase over what we've been receiving over the last few years. It won't start until 2026, but that's going to be a big plus for us, and each year it'll continue to grow. It's only a 6-year deal. Most TV deals are longer, 10, 15 years, but he wanted to go 6-year deals because he thinks once we get established in 6 years, when they start to renegotiate, that thing could even go even higher. So stay tuned as well on that. And then name, image, and likeness, a lot of interesting things out there about that and how it's affecting college athletics. There are really, really good things about name, image, and likeness, and there are a lot of positives about it. Matter of fact, Brandon Plattner, one of our players today, was talking about his name, image, and likeness deal. And what he does is 35% of his money goes to charities in the local community. And then we have a Deuce Vaughn who's come here, really well, not very well known when he got here, and it's turned out to have some really nice NIL deals. Aoki Lee is another example of a great person that's come in, established her name, image, and likeness. And so, but there are some bad things about name, image, and likeness. It is being used as an inducement to recruit athletes, and that's illegal. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen here at K-State, but it's something we constantly have to fight on and work through. We're going to need ultimately probably some federal government legislation to help us through that. So that's kind of my brief update. I will entertain questions if that's allowable for a few minutes. Anybody, any question, any concern you have, be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, are there any questions? Senator Bannister.
Yeah, we actually, thank you for bringing that up. Obviously, sports gambling is legal in Kansas. There are some different laws compared to some other states. But we're constantly educating our athletes. Matter of fact, we actually started a class with our business college this year in regards to name, image, and likeness. I think any student can take it. It's up to a 3-hour course. But we're constantly, our compliance folks are constantly talking about gambling and what they can and can't do. Obviously, our athletes can't gamble on any sport that the NCAA manages. We have got a contract with a company called U.S. Integrity that monitors any betting on any of our sports programs. That's brand new this year. We've never really used that. We have monthly meetings with them, and they just kind of track our betting. And matter of fact, I got basically a notification when our line at Alabama, when we were playing Alabama, I think it was 3, and it went up to 7. That's always a kind of a big jump. And the reason is because Bryce Young announced he was going to play quarterback. So obviously that was the only reason. It wasn't anything nefarious. But yeah, we try to educate them as much as we can.
Any further questions? Chair Phillips.
Yeah, so thanks so much for coming, Gene. I know that you're a part of the College Football Playoff Committee, and there's going to be expansion with that soon. How do you think that helps support K-State?
Well, thank you, and I am, and it's a great honor to be a part of that group. It's I've got one more year to serve on it. It's a selection committee. We don't have any decision over the expansion portion. That's more presidents and commissioners. But I will tell you this: when we select the 25 teams, right? Everybody focuses on the top 4, but really we ultimately are responsible for 1 through 25. And sometimes it's easier to get the top 4 than you think. But when you get into 6 through 10 or 6 through 15 or even 25, those resumes, as we call them, begin to look very much the same in terms of a lot of 8 and 3s and 8 and 4s and 9 and 3 schools. But what it's going to do is going to really drive interest in a lot of the schools that now all of a sudden are sitting at 2015, 2018 and say, hey, if we win this game, we got a chance to be in the top 12. Obviously, this year we would have finished in the top 12 and been in the playoff. Apparently, based on the way that it's scheduled, we would have had to go to Tennessee for the first round game. But I think the interest of fans, instead of just 4 schools having interest or 6, it's going to have 15, 20, maybe 25 schools. And I think our opportunities to get in the college playoff will be a lot better now with 12. So I think it's a great idea. It will generate more revenue back to the athletic programs and the conferences. I think what you're going to begin to see with the new TV deal with the expanded playoff and these bowl games is there's going to be some portion of revenue sharing back to the athletes with some of that money because the money's getting to be so big. And in order for players to commit to playing in some of these bowl games, I think you're going to see revenue sharing in some way, shape, or form.
Any further questions? Director Brown.
You know, I think what I hope, and I actually saw Bryce Young after our Alabama game. We had our press conference, and our locker room was right across from the press room, and they brought the Alabama players in later, and Bryce gets out of the golf cart, and literally Bryce is not a very big man. I mean, I am bigger than he is. Now, he's a lot better athlete than I am, but so I literally just introduced myself, and I said, Bryce, I want to thank you for playing in this football game. Because you didn't have to do that. It says a lot about you as a college football player, and it says a lot about college football. We need you to play in this game. We needed Deuce Vaughn to play in this game. We needed Felix to play in these games. And I think if we get, particularly for the playoff games, they'll play in those. I think that's why the revenue share might be a way to get more athletes to play in more of these other bowl games that aren't necessarily in the playoff run. But once we get to the 12 team, I don't think you'll see many athletes opt out of those games. The lower bowls, the other bowls, possibly, but I hope we can keep more athletes to play because from the NFL perspective, everybody says those that opt out get looked differently from a scout's perspective than playing in the game. So hopefully we can keep that going.
Any further questions? Coordinator Lynn.
With the new TV deals, are we likely to see the K-State games getting off of ESPN Plus and maybe on TV more?
Yes and no. I mean, the ESPN Plus format is obviously they're digital and they're trying to push it. And I've just watched Twitter a little bit. I'm not a huge Twitter guy, but everybody's complaining about our KU game is on ESPN Plus, which draws a lot of eyeballs. Now, the delivery of that's gotten a lot better in terms of ability to get it. We're still having a little frustration with the talent that they bring in. Now, see, when we do it here, we use our talent, but now ESPN's coming in saying, hey, K-State, you produce the ESPN Plus game, and we'll bring our talent in. Well, then the talent they bring in doesn't do a great job of doing their homework, and they're kind of new, and so we struggle with their ability to call the games in a really fair way, and sometimes. So we got to get better there, but I do think they're going to still push ESPN Plus as a format for all of us. Now, what we hope is it's fairly distributed, and so it's not always K-State on ESPN Plus. That it is a KU, it is an Oklahoma, or well, whenever long they last. But I don't think we're going to get completely away from that, unfortunately.
Senator Kappelman.
So you mentioned how the new Big 12 commissioner, like they kind of control some of the marketing that happens for the university. What all does he control?
He only controls for the conference. He doesn't. We are responsible for our own marketing promotion, but he really wants to change the image of the conference as a little bit more younger, hipper kind of look and feel to it than kind of the more traditional conference. And I think you're going to see things like concert acts at the Big 12 championships. You're going to see DJs at the Big 12 basketball championships this year. You're going to see just different groups. His marketing and the people he knows across this country, like good friends of his, CEOs of major corporations, he's going to utilize those connections to kind of change the look and feel of us as a conference, but not so much individually as schools. Yeah.
Caucus Leader Oury.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on 2022-2023 being an amazing sports year.
Thank you. Well, hopefully we can keep going, you know. You and me both. My email inbox is a lot more friendly on years like this, I can tell you.
So you mentioned that we're getting away from the stupid KU chant, and what are some things we could do as students to attract top-tier talent like Coach Tang and players we can get?
Well, I think I'll give you an example, and this is all very legal. We had a recruit on campus this weekend, and one of the things that our fan base and you as students do, and because it gets out there, is to look at that tweet, favorite, retweet it, because that kid will get home and he'll see how many different tweets and retweets for him being on campus, and he'll go to another campus, and that's not going to be the same. And a lot of our recruits see that and feel that. So that's one way, is just keep an eye out for that and follow them on social media and the other platforms that are out there that a lot of people use that I don't use. And then just continuing to make sure we show ourselves in a good light when we're at games on TV, in terms of saying a nasty chant, do all the fun stuff that you guys do and how creative you are normally during the game. And again, we're hoping the chant goes away, and that shows well on TV. And recruits see that, and they go, man, what an atmosphere. I'd love to play in that atmosphere. The kid that was here, he was blown away by the energy in that building, and so were his parents. So those things help a great deal.
Chair Phillips.
Yeah, I know you mentioned a lot of great projects that we're finishing up on the facilities end. Looking more long-term, what do you see as some other projects on the horizon?
Well, I think, right now we've had these massive $60, $70 million projects. I think we need to give our donors a little bit of a break and kind of shift their focus to more operational dollars right now. But we still have some needs. Our tennis program probably needs a really good indoor tennis facility, which I think would be a great project, a combined project with our campus, to have a really nice indoor tennis facility that can be. I was at University of Iowa. We had 8 courts. It was part of a student activity center, but tennis they competed there, but during the day the community used it. I mean, so that's one project. And then our golf team really needs a kind of their own clubhouse. They share out at Colbert Hills, they share their locker rooms with the fans. And when there's a wedding there, they have to move out. And so those are smaller projects. But other than that, we're facility-wise right now, we're in pretty good shape in terms of major projects.
Senator Anderson. Sorry, Senator Dole.
Just to follow up with this question, is there any plans in the future to upgrade Brentwood?
I actually got that question today on my Ask the AD segment. In the original master plan, there was quite a bit of upgrades in the Bramleys. There was some new concourses and kind of a different way to get in and out. As you know, you come to the top and go all the way to the bottom. And for some of our older fans, including myself, that's quite a hike. We have touched on a little bit when we did the south end zone. We brought that club area out there on the one end. We added some new club areas. Then we added 2 new entrances. Those were all originally part of the plan. I think for now, probably nothing real imminent with Bramlage, but you just never know. If Coach Tang keeps rolling and our fan base wants to see a more new and improved facility, then it's something we'll look at. But again, that project itself would be a pretty significant undertaking that I don't know from a revenue generating, it would be money going out as opposed to really creating opportunities. So it'd probably be a while before we get back to that, but it is in our plans to do some upgrades to it.
President Vogelmore.
So yeah, thank you again for being here. Along those similar lines with Bramlage, some of the recent upgrades and innovations just over this last year, adding some of the suites coming down into what was formerly some of the student section. I wouldn't imagine or ever propose we would upgrade, but one of the best problems I've ever seen us have at K-State is that our students are all showing up in such large numbers that now we can't all even get into the games.
Right.
So is there any thought or discussion going on about how we attack that problem in the short term? Is it a tier system at every game? Is there opportunity to have even more student seats? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously, you know, again, we always knew there was probably going to be that one game a year when it was KU because our student attendance hasn't been where it was the last couple of games. So it's a good problem to have. And again, we'll probably sit down with our fan experience group and Brett Aiken and Joni and those guys and say, okay, what can we do differently? And now that the interest is back up where we wanted it to be, are there some areas? We do have some general mission seating, as you know, kind of in the end zone area that we cut the students off and we allow for some general mission areas. Could we grow that into more student seating? In terms of how we select it, obviously there are different ways schools do it, whether it's a tier process or priority process. All those things, again, we kind of look at every year and see if there's a way to tweak it and make it better. And your feedback and your guys' understanding of how to do that is we'll seek that at the end of the season. And Brett and those guys are really good about visiting with you guys and trying to get those ideas and feedback, and we can make it better and easier for the students. We can't get everybody in there, obviously, with the number of students we have, but we want to get as many as we can in the most fairest way, too.
Awesome. I think that is the perfect place to wrap it up. So
Thank you very much. It was always a pleasure to see you guys. Appreciate it, and keep coming to the games, and go Cats.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. With that, we'll go ahead and move, unless there are any other open period speakers, we'll go ahead and move into approval of the minutes for the evening. The minutes were distributed on Tuesday along with the agenda and legislation tracking information. Are there any questions or corrections for the minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Chair Thomas. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the minutes will stand approved. With that, we'll go ahead and move into our announcements for the evening. First up, welcome back. Hope everyone had a restful winter break. Ugh. Time flies. Hope y'all had a good new year. Semester's off to a strong start, all that jazz. Next up, we have the proxy link there. So if you need to be absent from Student Senate, go ahead and fill out the proxy form using that link there. Proxies for the evening, we have Phillips for Heatherman, Hoffman for Navarro, and Compton for Rogers. If you'll be physically absent from Student Senate, but still would like to attend via Zoom, you can fill out the Zoom request form there, and I'll review those. And then if you want to give props to someone in Student Senate, you can click the Student Senate shout-out form there. Go ahead and fill out some shout-outs. We don't have any yet, so give us some shout-outs.
Do it.
Do it. And the SJ member of the week this week is Jack Cannell. Jack is an at-large member on the Tuition Enhancements Committee and did a great job stepping up to take minutes and act as vice chair this week. So thank you for your hard work, Jack. And then there is the upcoming events calendar. A couple changes this semester. The Strategic Oversight Committee switched days, so now they are on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. And some of you asked what EL meeting means. Emerging leaders was just a very long phrase and it didn't really fit in the box. So EL meeting is the emerging leaders meeting. And those actually do start at 4:30 now. So props to Peyton for doing double duty as coordinator. Anyway, quote of the week this week. The real test is not whether you avoid this failure because you won't. It's whether you let it harden or shame you into inaction, or whether you learn from it, whether you choose to persevere. And that's by Barack Obama. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into committee reports for the evening. Are there any committee chairs that would like to give a report tonight? Chair Talbert.
Yeah, real quick. I was just gonna let everyone know that I'm working with Evan. We're gonna get some interns put into, what's the correct term? Interim student senators, so that they could. I mean, a lot of them are gonna become senators, so it gives them a good experience having like hands-on experience being a senator before they actually become one. So, yep.
And what are the criteria for that, Bentley?
To be an interim senator, to be an intern in the second phase. Well, an emerging leader in the second phase.
A mentee.
Oh, yeah. Be a mentee.
And it has to be 6 weeks or less before the end of the SGA term. So next week will be the first week of eligibility for our mentees to get sworn in as interim student senators. So you'll see some of them up here next week. Thanks, Bentley. Are there any further committee chairs that would like to give a report tonight? Chair Phillips.
All right, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all again. The Student Services Fee Committee is hard at work this semester. We've hit the ground running and have a lot more track to run. Sorry, Evan. So far, we started our review of the rec on Monday. We got to take a great tour over there and learn a lot more about the rec than I think many of us did. I learned a lot, and I've been on that tour before, so that was really exciting. We will continue that review on Monday, so if you're interested, please feel free to come by, and we'll be hopefully making our decision on that the following Monday. A couple other things for you. The first of which, we are actually going to be receiving a proposal from the to the Student Services Fee Committee. So something potentially to be added onto the fee. And Ethan, I think you're going to touch more on that later, so I won't steal your thunder. But I did want to let you know when we will be hearing that proposal. We, unfortunately, but also fortunately, it's a good problem to have. We have a lot to do in our committee. So we are going to begin meeting temporarily 2 times a week. And that second meeting time is going to be on Thursdays at 4 o'clock. So we only have 2 of those scheduled right now. Hopefully that's all that we have to have, but that'll be 1 week from today at 4 p.m. and it's the same thing for the week after over in the CSI conference room, and we'll be beginning that review there. So please feel free to come by and learn more about the proposal, give your input, ask any questions you may have. It's a really exciting process to go through. I've been here 4 years and we've never had a proposal for the Student Services Fee Committee. So it's something that we're all kind of learning as we go, but I'm really excited to embark on that process. So other things, or just the last thing, by the end of the year, we're going to be making our proposal to the Board of Regents for the Student Services Fee assessment rate. That's the amount that we charge students every semester to pay the student services fee. That amount is currently $479.40 per semester. So I will keep you all in the loop as we learn more about if there will be an increase requested to that rate, or if we decide to keep that flat. But feel free to ask me any questions about that, or if you have any input on what you think that should look like, let me know. So I'm open to any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. Are there any questions for Chair Phillips? Senator Swindler.
Yeah, so talking about the assessment rate. Yeah, so that increase, if that was something that we were going to propose, that would be for next year. So the way that that works, our proposal is due to the Board of Regents in, I believe it's June. May. And then, well, they decide on it in June.
But they want them in April.
Yeah. They're due in April. We get a first reading, so our version of an introduction in May, and then in June, they will actually vote on that to be implemented in the coming August. So that's kind of that timeline.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, thanks, Blake. You can take your seat. And with that, are there any further committee chairs that would like to give a report tonight? Seeing none, are there any directors that would like to give a report tonight? Director Brown.
Evening, everyone. As Chair Phillips indicated, we have a monumental thing going on in the SSF committee meeting with a proposal over this winter interim break. Me, as well as Nick and Peyton and some other five others who aren't in the room tonight, met, and over in September or October, when Adibus came to present, we wanted to change some things, and realizing that their funding wasn't adequate, they were operating at a 4% budget failure, and we met and discussed about possible solutions to provide funding for them because they have operated without student funding, but we wanted to preserve not having student funding. But technically, all of their funding was already through student funding because they operate out, their budget comes from parking services, and parking services comes from parking passes. And shockingly, the people you'd least expect to use on-campus busing is people who are using parking passes. And about $20 to $22 from that parking pass went into Adibus's funding. So we didn't have enough data to basically what we're doing is a 1-year proposal to increase the Adibus funding with a $10 student fee just for 1 year to collect more data. And then eventually we will come back for a more evergreen solution. But I'm really proud of the work that our committee has been able to do in such a short time. And this has been something that I've been wanting to do since my freshman year, and since I gave you an update when we formed the committee, I wanted to give you an update at the exodus of this committee in its current form. I neglected to mention that in addition to this proposal, we will also be proposing that my position as Access Director will serve on Adibus's community board to have a member of K-State representing the student body. So that's it. Any questions? Yes.
Senator Hubinig.
Yes, we had a panel of 7 students and representation from Adibus. So it was from all colleges and all ability levels, all genders.
Go ahead.
I don't know off the top of my head. Can I refer to Nick, please? Yeah, we had someone who interned with Adibus, so. Yeah, that wasn't something, we just picked people that had a general interest in campus access, and one of the bigger solutions that we proposed was busing from Jardine to the airport for international students. So that is something that in the following year we could assess as a potential service.
Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, thanks so much, Ethan. You can take your seat. With that, are there any further directors that would like to give a report tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into approval of the allocations for the evening. So I apologize, folks, this was not on the agenda that I sent out to all of you, but Jacob pointed out to me that we didn't special order this one in the fall. So We up for approval in the allocations this evening. We have Bill 68, which is the fiscal year 2023 student allocation to the Institute of Industrial Systems Engineers. They requested 1,000. They were recommended 1,000 for travel to Columbia, Missouri. With that, is there a motion to approve the allocations? Chair Long? It's been moved and seconded to approve the allocations. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the allocations will stand approved. And with that, we will go ahead and move into final action for the evening. And up first, we have Resolution 48, if the author will please come forward. Were any changes made?
In committee, yes.
What was changed?
A whole bunch. Oh, do I have to explain it or can I just
Yes.
read it?
You can just read it.
Okay, cool. So this is Resolution 22-2348, recommendation to Kansas State University regarding content disclosures. Authors me, Stasia Mendoza, and Jeremy Kamen. Sponsors Alexa Shear, RIP, love her, she graduated. Whereas in each student's time at Kansas State University, they may encounter curricula with content that includes sensitive topics or adverse stimuli. Whereas content that may warrant disclosures include, but is not limited to, flashing images, loud noises, sexual abuse, self-harm, violence, death, and animal abuse. Whereas sensitive topics may cause relapse to prior mental and emotional duress, and adverse stimuli may trigger conditions such as epilepsy or PTSD, all of which pose a risk to the well-being of our student body. Whereas content disclosures should be communicated to all students clearly before the presentation of sensitive material so that students are provided a warning prior and may address it accordingly. And whereas Kansas State University should create a standardized content disclosure plan for faculty and staff for providing content warnings prior to the presentation of sensitive topics or adverse stimuli. Be resolved that Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSU SGA, believes that KSU, in consultation with campus mental health professionals, should review and designate certain subjects, areas, and topics as potential content disclosures. Section 2, KSU SGA believes that KSU should require teaching faculty to implement content disclosures in their syllabi and disclose sensitive content directly prior to exposure. Section 3, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to the Dean of Agriculture, Dr. Ernie Minton, Dean of the College of Architecture, Planning and are we missing someone there? I think we're missing someone there. I'm gonna carry on. What are you missing? Oh, just kidding. Planning and Design, Tim D. Noble. It does look funny right there. On line 38. Okay, I just looked at the word interim and freaked out. Interim Dean of College in Arts and Sciences, Dr. Chris Culbertson, Dean of College of Business Administration, Dr. Kevin Gwinner, Dean of College of Education, Debbie Mercer, Dean of College of Engineering, Dr. Matt O'Keefe, Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Claudia Pershew, Interim Dean of the College of Health and Human Sciences, Dr. Craig Harms, Dean of College of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Bonnie Rush, Vice President for Student Life and Dean of Students, Dr. Thomas Lane, University Provost and Executive Vice President, Dr. Charles Tabor, and University President, Dr. Richard H. Linton.
Senator Blood.
Can we please add a hyphen in between the words well and being on line 17 to imply with American?
Yes.
Thank you. And add a comma after the whereas clause on line 20.
What a king. Thank you.
A comma.
After the word whereas.
The last whereas.
Oh, there it is. Are there any further questions or corrections? Okay, seeing none. We didn't have to do questions and corrections. Anyway, I thought we were in introduction of legislation. You have first rights to debate.
Yeah. So I like this. I worked with Jeremy a lot on this to make it more beefier, more substance. So what we added was mental health professionals to like designate, and then certain content disclosures. And I do want to be clear, this isn't about taking away anything. It's just making students aware beforehand. I emailed about like 40 different department heads to see like what they do. And some of them had came back and were like, hey, I am not sure about this because it does take away some content. And I do want to like make that clear that I'm not trying to take away content. I just want students to be more aware of it prior to them being in the room in that awkward situation of where they may, for example, see a flashing image and or anything else and not feel the best. So that's like a main issue that I had talking to department heads. But yeah, if you guys have anything that you don't like about it, let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Joseph. Seeing as that was debate in the positive, we're now seeking speeches in the negative. And are there any further speeches in the positive? Are there any further speeches at all? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into a hand vote on Resolution 48. All those in favor of Resolution 48, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised 2. And all opposed, same sign. With that, Resolution 48 will carry. Thank you, everybody. And with that, we will go ahead and move into introduction of allocations, if there is a motion to consider the allocations. Senator Salmon. It's been moved and seconded to consider the allocations. So up first, we have Bill 70, which is the fiscal year 2023 student allocation to the Asian American Student Association. They requested $1,000 and recommended $600 for the Kansas State University Social Media Week. And there are commas missing in the 1,000, so I'll add that. And then we have Bill 71. This is the fiscal year 2023 student allocation to Sales Ambassadors National Strategic Selling Institute. They requested $1,275 and were recommended $600 for a Textron aviation trip. And lastly, we have Bill 72, the fiscal year 2023 student allocation to the Young Democrats. They requested $300 and were recommended $300 for Kansas Democrats Washington Days. Are there any questions or corrections for the allocations? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into introduction of legislation for the evening. If there is a motion to consider Bill 73. Senator Salmon. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 73. If the author will please come forward.
Bill 222373, amendments to the KSU SGA bylaws regarding special student senate meetings. Authors Blake Phillips. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association should continue to review its governing documents, whereas members of KSU SGA refers to any student services fee paying student of Kansas State University, whereas there are a few situations where 10% of members of KSU SGA would call a special student senate meeting, however, this ability should be kept. Whereas if 50% of student senators selected and qualified would like to meet, they should be able to. Whereas if 50% of student senators would like to meet, a quorum should be attainable. And whereas adding this requirement provides a realistic opportunity to call a special student senate meeting other than a meeting called by the student body president. Be it enacted that Section 1, Article 4, Section 1 of the KSU SGA bylaws shall be amended to read as follows, and that just adds at the very end, or by written petition of greater than or equal to 50% of student senators selected and qualified. Section 2, this legislation shall take effect upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president.
Thanks, Blake. Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Senator Brown.
Yeah, so that can be a variety of things. For example, the one time during my time here that we've had to have a special student senate meeting was when COVID hit. We had some budget adjustments that we needed to make, and we decreased just about every entity on the student services fee by 3% at that point in time because of that anticipated COVID impact, which did come to fruition even more so than we thought. So that's one example, but you know, if there's something happens on campus, some big issue, and we feel that we need to meet in order to respond to that, or some case like that, those are some examples.
Are there any further questions? Senator Morello.
Yeah, so that means student senators who have been sworn in. So, for example, if basically that doesn't take into account attendance, which when we vote on constitutional amendments, there has to be 75% of those in favor who are sworn in, not just of people who are there that day. So yeah, that's just kind of the term for 50% of people sworn in.
To give a little context, we have 47 senators sworn in right now. So 24 senators, no matter how many vote in the poll or whatever, or write their name on the petition, would have to petition in favor of calling a special student senate meeting. Senator Kamen.
I'm just curious. When a petition is written, I know there's a couple places where petitions can be made in our Constitution as a whole. Who are they given to? Like, where do they go?
So that, in this case, I believe would just be presented to the speaker. Since the speaker
Say the
would,
question again. I was thinking about something else.
Yeah, my guess would be to you because you preside over the meeting, and if the qualification has been met, then
I have to make the agenda. I have to communicate to all the senators that they have to be present. So if we were to meet the threshold, or if Parker wanted to call a meeting like tomorrow, he would just tell me, or the petition would just come to me. But we can clarify that in the text.
Mhm.
Are there any further questions? Senator Brown?
No, so this actually adds an additional way. So there's right now 2 ways that a special student senate can be called, and that's if Parker wanted to do so, that meeting would be called. But yeah, Parker loves that power. The other way is a petition by 10% of members of KSU SGA. Members of KSU SGA is a little bit of a confusing term. Technically, anybody on campus who pays the student services fee is a member of KSU SGA. So that 10% number is actually, I don't know, call it 1,500 students, just estimating our enrollment. So in this case, I'm adding in a third option where, okay, like if we think half of the Senate body needs to meet, then we should be able to. So that option still exists, that 10%, and I think it should exist.
Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Blake. You can take your seat. And with that, we have exhausted our legislative agenda for the night, so we will go ahead and move into our second open period. Are there any second open period speakers this evening? Chief of Staff Richenberg.
Wow, Blake, you're so tall. Okay. Anyway, I can't stop laughing now. Okay. Okay. Jeez, I can't do this. I'm laughing. Okay, sweet. Yay! Thanks, guys. So transitions are coming up. So if you're interested in, for say, my position or any of our cabinet positions, let us know. I'm more than welcome to like connect you with whatever cabinet member position that you are interested in, so you can kind of learn a little bit more about that. As always, if you want to learn a little bit more about Chief of Staff, you're more than welcome to let me know, because I love my position. And finally, Juan wants me to say that you should look at your emails next week. Most likely it's going to be from me, and I don't exactly know what it's going to be, but just look at your emails next week.
You should be looking at your emails all the time anyway.
Yeah,
folks.
you really should do that as well. But
Also, I would like to add, if anyone is interested in any higher position in the legislative branch, I have held at least 2 of them. So you can come talk to me. Feel free to use the link at the bottom of my email signature to schedule a meeting with me. Real nifty tool, so we don't have to go back and forth. A couple of you in the crowd have already done that. So shout out to those folks who shall remain anonymous. But if you have any questions about like being speaker, or questions for Juan about being pro tem, I was also the Senate Operations Chair. For those of you that have been around for more than a year, could tell you some about that. Yeah, but were there any questions for Marta?
well, since we're doing all the branches, if you want to hit up the judicial branch as well, I've got their contact information. And then one final thing, not SGA related. So Jeff, Parker, and I are part of Blue Key Honor Society, which is a senior honorary society here at K-State. It's something that we've been a part of, and we have applications Jeff, stop it. We have applications. They'll close, I believe it's February 16th at midnight. But if you have any questions for that, it's just been a super cool experience. I know Jeff Parker and I would be loved. What do you want to say? Oh, your mouth was just open. Okay. And so basically the only requirement is you have to be in senior standing in the fall, and you also currently need to have a 3.0 GPA. So if you have any questions about what that application process looks like, feel free to hit up any of us three. We'd love to get coffee with y'all and talk about that. But yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Marta.
Do I have
there-
any questions?
No. Are there any further second open period speakers this evening? Director Brown.
All right, I'm just going to open it up to all applications that seem to be open right now. I'm just going to list some off. Student Foundation applications are open till Friday night, and the Chimes application, which is a junior honorary. So RJ is in it as well, so you can talk to him. So for those of you who will be juniors next year, those applications open today as well. So it's application season, y'all. So get your essays on. Peace.
Thanks, Ethan. Are there any further second open period speakers this evening? Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and oh wait, no, Senate shoutouts. Take it away, Juan.
Shout out to the debut of Kate's new pants. The real test is not. Don't read that one? Okay. Blake's puns are fun. Shout out to Gene Taylor for coming to speak to us. Shout out to buses. Shout out to Speaker Pro Tem Pineda Gomez for a sharp-looking beard. Why, thank you. Shout out to the interim senators to be. Shout out to Director Brown for being so dang cool. Shout out to great questions. Shout out to Bus Club. Love emoji at a bus. Shout out to Ethan for being a great advocate for all students. Get well soon, Marcus. Shout out to Marta's lavender swag. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, everybody. With that, I will go ahead and refer our legislation for the evening. So bills 70 through 72 will go to the Student Allocations Committee, and Bill 73 will go to the Senate Operations Committee. And with that, we'll take it away with our second roll call.
All right, folks, we're almost done. Anderson. Here. Bannister. Here. Barron. Here. Bellamy. Here. Blood. Here. Broughton. Here. Brown. Here. Compton. Here. Coy. DePaz. Here. Dole. Here. Hoffman. Here. Hubnig. Here. Kamen. Here. Kappelman. Here. Kirshen. Kidd. Kermer. Kenzie. Labidi. Long. Middaugh. Morello. Murphy. Naretti. Oury. Pelton. Phillips. Pilchard. Pondillo. Rogers. Sayat Carly. Sayat Nick. Salmon. Schweier. Spindler. Stout. Strout. Taubert. Timon. Thomas. Volgamore. And Wolf. All right, thanks, folks.
Okay, thanks, everybody. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Salmon. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn until the same time at the same place next week. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we will stand adjourned at 7:59 p.m.